who was participating again for those who join us our show right now?
This tape I made at an organization called the Center for Social and Economic Justice, which was in Arlington, Virginia. They're still there. You can look them up, CESJ. That organization was all about expanded capital ownership, worker ownership. And I was very interested because I'd been selling heavy industrial equipment, and I saw that without property you have no power. And so I became very interested in expanded capital ownership. So I moved to DC and I joined this, and Andrew Morleone, who was 80, this was probably made in 1986, this tape, at that meeting. I can't tell you who all was there, because quite frankly it was almost more than 25 years ago. But I know the founder of CESJ, Norman Kurland, was there. And Andrew Morleone, because even at 80, he was passionately interested in better life for people. He was completely ecumenical. 3 people who wrote blurbs for my book, I got through Morleone after he died. Bill Simon, Norman Cousins, and Jack Valenti. I talk about a group. He knew people around the world. He believed, he says on this tape, you don't have to be a Catholic to be a prophet. You can be an atheist to be a prophet. He was all about ecumenism. He founded a university, International University in Rome, and he cared. He understood that without property, you will always be fighting for power. And that was why he chose to participate in the Center for Social and Economic Justice all those years ago.
Wow. So Global Innovation Summit, what's made you participate in that?
Oh, that's the perfect follow-on question, because the Global Innovation Summit is all about building ecosystems where more and more people can become entrepreneurs in whatever field, the arts, business, science, tech, doesn't matter. It's about building the ecosystems where what I believe is natural to all of us, the impulse to create one way or another, it becomes possible to create. We no longer have to become little assembly line workers, which is what we were all doing during the Cold War 40 years ago. So the Inno Summit is, to my mind, the single most amazing and innovative conference I've ever seen. And especially if you're from any country in the world and you want to build ecosystems that foster innovation and entrepreneurship and expanded ownership, not to mention great fashion, you want to go to the Inno Summit.
All right, so it's all kind of globally. They do have some expansion to other countries, because I saw a lot of participants from all over the world.
53 countries, honey, we're there.
Yeah, 53
countries. Yeah.
Wait, so who are the 2 people who are talking to each other on the on this tape? I forgot their names again.
Bless you. The person who's speaking is Father Felix Andrew Morleone.
Yes.
And he was speaking at the Center for Social and Economic Justice. And so if you hear this whole tape, you'll hear a number of the people who were there asking questions. The whole thing blew me away. I didn't even know I had it. I just found this thing. I cried when I first played it. I cried because this was '86, and he's talking about Shevardnadze and like how important he is. And remember how important Shevardnadze was?
Yes.
And he knew him. The other thing that I think is the most important about this, and that it relates to what you asked about the Inno Summit, you and I go there along with other people and we become friends. The reason, according to Morleone, the reason he could get Khrushchev on the phone was because he knew the guy he called the eminence grise of Russia. And that was the man, and they'd been friends long before, cultivating those relationships for years, so that when all hell is about to break loose, Morleone has a friend he can call who says, can you get me on the phone with Khrushchev, because Kennedy's not going to back down, and if somebody doesn't blink, we're having a nuclear war. And again, I get chills even now, and I'd forgotten I had this thing, completely forgotten. It was in a box with all these other tapes that I'd made all those years ago. And here I meet Olga. See, there's the Inno Summit, there's serendipity. So I schlepped this thing out here on the airplane with me, because I just found it, I'm going to Inno Summit, someone will care. And of course, the tape, I won't let them put it through the scanner, and the kids are going, it'll go through the scanner. I'm like, you don't understand. That tape is older than you. Just humor me, don't scan it.
And it's very historical.
And it's very historical.
It's a premiere for public, for the community.
This is the first time ever.
First time for the public to hear
this.
Just
hearing that, like these people were talking on the brink of what they thought was the most destructive war ever.
Yes.
Like when he asked Khrushchev, do you want to be the greatest criminal in the history of the world? Because this figure said 1.2 billion people could have died.
the first week.
But the
Was
first
what they estimated.
That was.
If the Cuban Missile Crisis had escalated in a nuclear war, we were going to lose 1,200,000,000 people.
I think in
the first
1986 that was probably what, a fourth of the population.
Well, what
Fifth?
was, that's
No,
an interesting. What was
that
the
was the
population?
conversation in 1986, but
Yeah.
actually they stopped it before, long before.
They stopped in
86.
62.
So
Yeah.
they were talking about it at the summit,
Yeah.
global justice,
Oh yeah.
right?
Center for, in 86.
Yeah.
In
And he
86.
was remembering his role in that conversation with Khrushchev in 62. And then to hear him now, because it was still the Soviet Union, he's talking about, he hasn't met Gorbachev yet, but he knows people who know him. And he's already optimistic about what Gorbachev is doing.
Yeah.
It just, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So, and this is the first time, and
Wow.
because Olga said, I have a radio show, let's play it. So we want to donate it either to the Library of Congress or to NPR. Oh, and since I know from reading up on your show that you cover Google headquarters, this is an open invitation to Sergey Brin. I have a whole bunch of Russian medals in this historic tape, and if I could meet you and play it for you, you could help us change the world in one generation.
Yeah, we do.
So tell Sergey.
So yes, that's in our future programming. We prepare and we booked in few weeks in advance. I know we're gonna start with Google Glasses in their department and how that's wearables changing our world in the future, and how often and why we can use that. So we're working on that because we're like booked a few weeks in advance. But knowing that you are from all the way from New York, I wanted you to be on the show and be our part of the show as well, because I was impressed with the Global Innovation Summit, what they have been doing with participants with 53 countries, and also with ecosystems they're designing for our future.
Yes.
And so I thought that you were perfect to talk about it. And in about 1.5 minutes, we have a commercial break after that, and we can come back to it. For those who joining us, Olga show at ustream.tv, you can search us, and U923 FM, just click live, and you can hear us or see us on Ustream, and then later on YouTube. Tell me about jewelry quickly. I guess we have 1 minute. Maybe we will come back to it later after the show. And then we will talk more about fashion and why we're all doing that, because we have to do wonderful pictures for the memory of our event, because that's also history we're making, of course, with every, and then I was happy that you were able to bring the tape and share with the community, which is like almost 30 years old, with a history of 50 years old, 52 years old history on this tape, actually.
And today we make history by playing it for the first time in this room with these people.
Wow.
Right.
How awesome is that? How awesome is that?
Because we are alive, because people were able to stop the war, and that's what we need to do. We bring in innovation in many things, and we bring the peace and beauty to the world.
Yes.
The beauty will save the world.
We will save the world.
Yeah, and that's
true.
what I'm supporting, beauty and wonderful people, innovative people. So if you are talented, or if you think you have the talent, Olga Show will help you. So from you to you.